Good morning, it's Keen. If you don't know me and you're just stopping by Romeo on YouTube because you're kind of looking for reactions to the new map, I'm Keen. I'm a competitive player for Splatoon 2. And today in this video, we're going to be talking about the new map in particular. I could have been making videos for some of these updates that they're sort of like drip feeding from the Twitter, but they're kind of like little tidbits here and there that I don't think are that big of a deal. But today is actually really interesting because it's a new map entirely. So here on the NA account, they said, Squid Research Lab reporting from Undertow Spillway. A former flood bypass is now used for turf war battles. This abandoned facility is another shining example of upcycling, as the very terrain lends itself to strategic and hard-fought skirmishes among Spotsville locals. And this is really cool, just conceptually, like not even talking about the map itself, just the idea of it, because I think this is an interesting map, because basically a flood bypass is kind of like a designated area you may have like next to a river or something like that, where excess water will flow to prevent flooding, basically. So when they say upcycling, they basically mean that since, Splatoon's like a post-apocalyptic kind of game where there's no people, this area is just gone from the purpose of being an area for a bunch of excess water to flow into an actual map that you play on, which is kind of funny to think about, that this area that's supposed to be filled with like nothing but water in case of emergencies is now just like, haha, let's play Rainmaker. That's kind of funny to me. So they threw this trailer. I don't think it has audio. It doesn't have audio. It's just 20 seconds kind of just showing around the map. It's pretty neat. And it's actually a decent bit to take in from this. So I'm just going to let this play out, and then I'll kind of run through it again, start pausing, pointing at things, that kind of thing. Although I will pause and point at the sunflower. That's neat. And you got the low frame rate jellyfish, so cool. So immediately, in terms of terrain on the map, I noticed it's a lot of slopes, inclines, corners, that kind of deal. You see how it's kind of just like constant elevation changes. Or like you got a ramp here, you go around the corner. You have a bunch of these pillars all over the map, and this seems like the focal point of the map because they're basically everywhere. They obscure your view. You can kind of hide behind the other side of the wall. It doesn't seem transparent, so you're not going to be able to see if someone's like necessarily standing behind this and you're on this side and they're over here. I don't think you'll be able to see that, which I think is kind of interesting. Also of note, you see there are kind of like a few elevated areas that kind of are like grates, like this one, these more in the background, like here. It's a very unusual layout. I feel like when you look at a lot of maps in Splatoon, you kind of see like a focal point, like top mid on Blackbelly or the mast on Manta Maria. But this one, I don't know if I really see like such a focal point. I think it's just kind of a bit chaotic and a bit strange. It kind of gives me the vibe of the middle of Blackbelly if you kind of took away the top mid part of it, sort of like the Rainmaker layout, where it's just a bunch of like little corners and ramps and slopes and all that, and that's kind of interesting. Immediately from the layout of the map, I'm going to be thinking stuff like Roller is going to be stronger. I think Buckets are going to be stronger. Machine also, like, Machine can play all these angles. Rollers and Buckets love this kind of geometry. I think Splatlings are going to like the grading potentially, depending on how the full layout looks. I can't tell at this point. Yeah, like these elevated areas, those are pretty cool for weapons like that. I don't know about Chargers, because on one hand it's open-ended, but if you have these like big pillar things, I don't know how strong that would be necessarily. Also, these ropes sticking out of this pillar, I'm not entirely sure. I would have to look at it again, but it kind of reminds me of the texture used for the ropes on Manta Maria, because I recently recorded that one Sprinkler video I uploaded like a week or two ago, and I was staring at those ropes for a bit, and these kind of remind me of them. Yeah, again, you see that elevated area, the kind of slope. I'm not entirely sure what this is in the background by the cushion. It looks like it's not symmetrical, so I can't say it's like the map layout itself. I wonder what that's about. What I think that's cool about how this area looks is, it's like sort of like an underground map, which we don't really have many of those. A lot of them are kind of just outdoor map, indoor map. This is cool. This is a very like, it's a subterranean map, but you have like these openings in the ceiling basically where the sunlight pours, and I think that's really cool. Like, this is a cool aesthetic map. Like, I just like the way it looks. It's really unique. It has its own identity. Because, I feel like a lot of the locations in Splatoon will be like, okay, this is a skate park, this is a shipyard, this is a port. But this one's really, really cool, just because, again, the idea of, like, you have this area that used to be used for one thing, and it's totally repurposed into a map for the context of, like, turf war battle, that kind of thing. And I think that's awesome. Like, I want to see more maps like this. And again, you have your final shot. Kind of just showing more of the background. This isn't, like, the playable part of the map. It's sort of just, like, the out of bounds is kind of bit empty, lonely, but this jellyfish loves it. Hopping around, you got some plants growing here, some sunflowers. That's neat. These jellyfish kind of look like they have the bandana looking thing Or some flowers, I can't tell, the resolution's kind of low. I don't know, I'm not sure. Yeah, it's a really cool map. I'm excited to see more of this, and I hope we see, because in my mind I'm thinking, when they were showing off Splatoon 2 maps, I think in the early trailers, like, I think they showed, what was it? They had, like, at launch, it was Inkblot, Reef, although Reef, I think, was, like, the predominantly shown one in, like, the early trailers. They had Starfish. Starfish was shown a little bit after Reef, I believe. But basically what I'm getting at is with this map, if there is, like, a test fire, which I assume there is probably sometime in August, if we're lucky, maybe in July, it'd be cool to see Eeltail Alley and Scorch Gorge, and if they're ready with this map, they could throw this in there, but I'm not entirely confident on that, because I'm thinking back to the test fire for 2, we had, like, the really old version of Reef, and we had Muscle Forge. And then I think a later test fire had a Starfish, if I'm not mistaken. It's been like 5 years, so I'm blanking on that. Pardon that. But yeah, this is a really cool map. But I like the way it looks. In terms of how it plays, I don't know. Again, I think Roller Bucket, Flatling is what comes to mind when I look at this. Maybe probably like Brush, maybe Octobrush might be neat here too. Yeah, it's just a cool layout. I really like it. But yeah, that's my ramble. Let me know what you think. Do you guys like how this map looks? I think it's pretty cool. It's has a very unique identity alone just from like the 20 seconds of footage we have of it. Pretty happy with it. I want to see more stuff like this, and if you want to see me make more videos where I kind of ramble and give like initial thoughts, sort of similar to this one, then feel free to subscribe. I'm trying to hit 1K. So, we're actually not that far off, so help me out there. Yeah, that's all I got. Hope you have a good day, and I'll see you next time.